Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. So let's work on selling some more stuff. Let's work on helping people buy. Let's work on breaking through and questioning. And I've got some ideas about an agenda and talking to people about your process. Do you have a process for sales? Some people have no process. So they show up and they throw up. All right. So I am the author. We'll get started. We'll get started. All right, I am the author of Sales Success for the Rookie, How to Succeed in Sales Right from the Start, and it's published by Motivational Press. Justin Sachs, great company. They do everything they say they're going to do. You can count on them. If you want information about publishing with them, get in touch with me and I'll talk to you about it. You can reach me, steve@stevelentini.com. So Steve at stevelentini.com. Add a .com on the end, all right? They do a great job. I'm also a contributing author in Imagine 30 Days to a New You. Justin Sachs and 29 leading experts, and here's Justin and Motivational Press, and they put this book together in relatively fast fashion. I think I contributed in November, and it was published in January. So they really do good work. If you have any questions about Motivational Press, call me, 917-805-1088, 917-805-1088. That's my phone number. Okay, so let's start each week with what are you thinking and what energy are you carrying forward? We're all surrounded by things that can become negative or turn negative, and the key is what's your reaction to them. So it could be the people that have had just their loss of everything in the fires in California, or the people that had tragic loss of life in Orlando. And the key is life is going to ask us, what's our response to it? That's the only thing we can control. I can only control me. I can't control others. And so for others, no matter what they do, I bless them. I silently bless them, and I wish them good things, because that's the energy that I can control. And that's what I want all of you doing. That's what I want all of you doing. I want you to be working on your energy, and what are you thinking when you're in front of prospects, and what are you thinking before you start your week, right? So that is the only thing you can control. That's your energy. Bear with me while I do a few things here. The only thing you can control is your energy, and that's what we talk about every week. And the people that work with me, I help them manage their energy because I know them. So I've had some clients with me for since 2003, and some have known me even when I was the licensee for Sandler Sales Institute. So that was 1998 to 2003. And so I've been working in sales since 1975. I had a lot of experience out on the road calling on people. I'm still out on the road calling on people. I work with people. I ride with people to help them adopt my style. I've just working with a company in New Jersey where I ride with one of the reps, and he's doing a great job learning how to help people buy and how to manage his energy. So let's talk today about breaking through, and let's talk today about agenda, then questioning. Then I'm going to talk about curiosity, helping people, and the energy of helping people. And of course, we just talked about managing your energy. So when it comes to managing your energy, you want to be managing your thoughts and your energy before you go to see people. So spend some time before you go in to make a call thinking good thoughts, and thinking good thoughts about yourself, and projecting good energy, and have some intentions about that you're creative, you're talented, you're likable, you're valuable, you're valued. And then silently bless the people before you go in. You could picture them if you know them, if you've seen them before. If this is a follow-up call, you can bring them a gift, as Deepak Chopra has talked about, wishing them silently joy, success, and happiness, right? If you're uncomfortable blessing people, I don't know why you would. You could say God bless them silently instead of you blessing them. So again, manage your energy, and what are you thinking, and what's that energy you're bringing always around you? So my theory is that your goal every day is to get up and have it your goal to leave everyone and everything a little better than you find them in every moment, right? So, because you only have a moment, by the way, that's all you're guaranteed. is this moment. You never know. All right. I've been there, been in a seminar where I was fine 1 second, and the next second I needed an ambulance, literally. So that's all we have is this moment. All right, so breaking through. How many people have experienced, raise your hand, how many people have experienced auto dialers? So I want to meet the managers and the company owners that think auto dialers is smart. Auto dialing isn't smart. Sorry. Can you imagine? So I pick up the phone and I talk to most of these people. I wait for them to come on. Some of them don't ever come on. The phone rings, so they've had an auto dialer dial me, and then nothing happens. There's no connection. It doesn't even work effectively. For the ones that do pick up, here's what happens. They ring, I answer it, and then I'm waiting. If one happens today live, I'll pick up the phone and you'll see what I do. So I'm waiting for them to say hello, and so there's a pause. Sometimes it's a lengthy pause, sometimes 3 or 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and then they pronounce my name wrong, Stefan. So there's the first error. They don't pronounce my name properly. Then again, they have no idea if I'm even interested in what they're selling, and they spend no time to find out if this is a good time, if I'm even interested. So I have a lot of discussions with people about financial return and improving their financial return. Is that something that's of interest to you right now? I mean, that would be, I might say, sure, in today's marketplace, that's of interest to me. You got 3 minutes. I might give someone 3 minutes of my time. They're not even asking. They're going right into what they're selling, which, you know what that says to me? So first of all, they've auto-dialed me. Very bad idea. Secondly, there's a pause. Third, they mispronounce my name. And then fourth, they go right into what they're selling, which says, I don't care about you. So no auto-dialing. If your company's doing that, you got to talk them out of it. Have them call me. It's crazy. Better to come up with a whole new process of prospecting. Like I talk about, start with where does your target market hang out, and then work in some associations. If it's business to business, work in some associations, work in a networking group, get to know people where your target market hangs out. If you're going to email, direct mail, phone people, and call at the top. So here's an idea. Call at the very important top officer. If you haven't read the book Vito, Selling to Vito, it's a great book. It was in partnership with Sandler Sales Institute, another great training program. So see, I believe in promoting others because there's plenty in the world. So I mention a lot of other people's sales processes. I mentioned Jeffrey Thull, Mastering the Complex Sale. I mentioned the Challenger Sale. I mentioned books called The Hunt, Are You Ready to Succeed? There's a lot of stuff that I read, and I do it for my clients. I tell them I'm the Cliff Notes. You don't have to read if you're engaged with me. I'll take care of that. That's my job. All right, so if you are going to phone people, 5 people before 9, very important top officers. 5 people before 9, very important top officers every day. And then have a compelling elevator speech, right? So I help people improve their bottom line, their sales, and their profits. That's what I do. Would you like to have a conversation about how? I'd like to come in to talk to you about it. How I help Salesforce productivity, how I help management improve profits, sales, and bottom line. Some people say yes, some people say no. So what I notice is most people don't call high enough. And so if you get the book, Very Important Top Officer, there's a lot of great information in there about calling at the top. So CFO, CIO, if you're selling IT, the CEO, who calls the president these days? The COO, the chief operating officer. They have responsibility for improving the results of those companies. They have responsibility for it. So why wouldn't you start there? They can always direct you down. How great is that if the COO calls the vice president of sales and says, Don, I want you to talk to this guy, Steve. You got invited in. All right. Now, once you get in, What I notice is that a lot of people are afraid to talk about their sales process, so they're still vomiting. They're puking on people. It's a disgusting word, right? They're vomiting on people. They have verbal diarrhea, so they come in and they talk a lot. They talk a lot. Who cares about your company? No one cares about your company. Even if you got an appointment, they don't care. They're curious, perhaps, which is the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is you need to have some natural curiosity. Are they a fit? That's the number one curiosity that is something salespeople need to develop. There's a book called Curious out there. It's a great book. It was written by actually the brother of a company guy that I worked with at a company in Brooklyn. It's a great book because it talks about having that curiosity to understand where are people coming from, what are they looking for, what are some of the challenges that they've had. Maybe they express some interest in you helping them with their challenges, and they gave you the appointment because you approached them with, hey, I help people solve challenges in their business and sales and in increasing bottom line profits. And I have some ideas about that. If you're interested, I'd love to come in to talk about it. If they said yes, well, then that's something that you follow up on. But now you come in with some natural curiosity. Number one, why would you be curious? Is everybody a fit for you? Does your company sell absolutely everyone in the world, or in the United States, or in your market? I talk to clients about what's your market share. It's amazing how many clients have less than 1% market share, or they have a 1% market share or a 5% market share. Wherever you're at under 99%, you have a lot of room to grow. Wherever you're at under 50%, wherever you're at under 20% of the market, you have a lot of room to grow. There's people that need what you do. If you work for a good company and you have a good solution, there's people that need what you do. And or need to buy what you have, or they need the solution, the software as a service, perhaps. I work with software companies. I work with engineering companies. I work with healthcare or medical device equipment companies. I work with service companies. I work with distribution companies, because the conversation doesn't matter what you sell. I can help everyone with the conversation that they have. And again, I'm only looking for people that have 50 salespeople or more, 25 at least across the country, at least. So again, I have a level of comfort that I'm looking for. I want to understand how many salespeople they have. So if I'm on the phone and I break through and they start to say, yeah, we'd love to have you come in, I say, well, how many salespeople do you have? I'm curious. A lot of times I know that ahead of time because I've done my research. That's the other thing, I do my research. So I know ahead of time that I'm targeting people that have large enough sales forces. And we're talking about you. So your curiosity, here's how you develop your curiosity. Number one, are they a good fit for you? You don't sell everyone. So now, what's your ideal? What's your second ideal? Where's your walk away point? You need to know what's your walk away point. Then you want to understand who are your ideal clients. Who have you helped in the past? How have you helped them? Will they be a source of referral and testimonial for you? Testimonial if you're going on a call, and third-party stories. So part of when you get to the point where you're going to talk a little bit, is you're going to have some third-party stories where I'm not sure if this will be helpful. I'm glad to share this with you. I want to share a third-party story, what I think is a fit for what you just described to me. I think that this is the solution that could possibly help you. You don't want to say it is the solution. You say it could possibly help you. Do you mind if I tell you the story? Most people say, no, go ahead, tell me the story. You tell them the story and say, does it sound like that's the situation that you have, the one I described? Yes. Okay, great. What have you done? See, now you continue your questioning. What have you done up till now to solve it? The reason you want to understand that is, what if they've done nothing for 5 years? Chances are they're going to let it go. They're not going to spend any money. Wow, 5 years you've lived with it. What about living with it for another 5 years? Have you thought about that? Have you discussed what kind of investment what's it cost living with it for 5 years? What has it cost? So it wasn't telemarketing. It was my brother, one of my brothers. So um, you want to understand, are they a good fit for you? So first you have to know what your ideal customer is, what your next ideal customer is, and what your walkaway point is. Now you develop some questions because you're curious. Is it a fit? Are they a fit? Are they going to set aside the budget? So let's go back to how long they've had the problem. 5 years or longer. Chances are 2 years or longer. Chances are they may not set aside the money required to buy your solution. All right. So I'm curious. You've had the problem for 5 years. Let's suppose you stay with it another 5 years. What's the worst that could happen? So now you listen. We don't know what they'll say, and you listen. I can't control what they're going to say. So then let's suppose they say, well, we've lived with it long enough because now it's starting to cost us more. Okay, so what are you saying it's costing you generally? Have you done the numbers? So you get some idea of what it's costing them, because now you have some idea of helping them invest, come to a conclusion about how much money to invest in solving the problem. So if it's costing them, well, all of a sudden it jumped up to $50,000. It cost us in over 5 years, right? Because you want to clarify. No, no, no. This past year it jumped up. Before that, it was only costing $4,000 or $5,000 a year. Now it's a little outdated. We need to update our productivity. We need to update our software, whatever it is. But again, you're getting my point. You have to be curious, and you develop questioning around your curiosity. And then your goal is they're talking 70% of the time, not you. We don't care about your company yet. The time will come. And when it comes time to present about your company, only address the things they've asked you about specifically. Don't go into a big story about how great your company is, how many companies we've helped, how many software engineers we have, how many programmers we have. Unless they ask you, forget about it. Don't share it. They're not interested. Remember, this is about them. This is about them. Now, so when you're in front of people, tell people about your sales process. There's a lot of sales systems that talk about having an agenda. Some call it an upfront contract. And I want people to go further. So great to have an agenda. I've thought about our call. In order to make it most productive, I'm going to fax you over our agenda. Well, not fax. I'll scan and email you the agenda I thought about. Would you look it over and add anything that you'd like? Let me know if there's something that you disagree with. We can take it off. Now, a lot of people don't answer those emails, so you could bring it with you. I've spent some time putting together an agenda. I thought about our call. I wanted to make our time most productive. Would you mind taking a look at it and let me know what you think? Let them look. Ask them if there's anything they'd like to add to it, anything they'd like to subtract. Okay, now I'd like to tell you a little bit about my sales process and what my goals are when I meet with people. Now you tell them. I like to say to people, I'm here to help you buy, whether it's us or not. We're gonna figure that out. And so part of my process is to ask a lot of questions. Some of them are. And I give them some idea what I'm going to ask. Then I say, then people ask me questions, of course, at some point. Some of those questions are. The reason I suggest some questions is because I help people with some questions that people have asked me. And typically they ask me one or two of the three that I suggest, and they ask more if they're interested. See, the back and forth indicates there is some interest. Now I know that I can gradually walk people to a close. I want to have enough dialogue back and forth, where I'm curious and I'm wondering through the whole time, are they a fit for our company and can I really help them? And I'm also sensing their energy, making sure that I continue a connection with them, making eye connection, and really caring. See, here's the thing. I'm genuinely caring if I can help. I don't have commission breath. I'm thinking about how can I help them and whether they're a fit. And I have questions to help them determine if we're a fit. And I'm also prepared to challenge them, like Matthew Dixon talks about in the Challenger Sale. I've done this long enough so that if I know that they want role play, for example, I tell them, you know what, that's not a fit. I don't do role play. See, I help people how they show up. I help them talk about the energy that they project and to learn how to measure the energy that's coming from others in a call, because there's always energy between people, and to find a way to say what they're feeling. When you start to feel something, you find a way to say it. That's what I help people do. Role play doesn't help with that. I do some scenarios. We do some. It's almost like a play, and I'm the director. I do some scenarios, and I help people with it. And I also do some energy work where we help people discover and feel an energy, and to breathe and to come down in their body. But if somebody says to me, "Oh, no, we got to have a lot of role play," okay, not a problem. It's okay. So then again, I want to be there genuinely helping. I want them to feel that energy from me, that I'm there to genuinely help, and that I will challenge a belief they have if I hear one that I couldn't say yes to, or if I hear a belief that they're going down a path. Well, so a lot of times I'll say, so what have you looked at so far? What have you looked at so far? Who have you considered? What are some of the things that you liked, what you didn't like? And when they tell me, let's say, we're considering X, okay, that's a great possibility. And I'm going to tell you why it won't work in this situation. If it's really true, I'm prepared to challenge people. In the Mastering the Complex Sale, Jeffrey Thel talks about diagnose and design. And in order to diagnose, you got to ask a lot of questions. But before he moves to a solution, and I forget what the third D is. There's a third D, but Mastering the Complex Sale, Google it, you'll find it. It's a great book too. Read it, and there's people that teach it. He wants people to commit at the second stage to, before I deliver our diagnosis, I want to make sure that we're going to be the solution provider for you. So I have some ideas about how we can fix this problem, and based on our back and forth. I mean, they're not doing it in 2 minutes. Based on their back and forth and the work we've done for you in the past, or what you've heard about us, we'd really like to get to the point where you could make a commit. We want you to make a commitment before we deliver before we go into presentation. That's great, because a lot of people, they're just got to get 3 presentations because the boss told them, you got to get 3 presentations and then we'll make a decision. A lot of times when they're doing that, they're just doing it so that they've made up their mind they need the other 2 because the boss said get 3. That's a crazy way to buy, by the way, for you folks buying like that. But there's a challenge, right? I can talk to you about that. Best to do all your work ahead of time and narrow it down to 2, and then invite the finalist in for the solution. It's best to make a commitment. And you'll know, you can trust your body, you can trust your energy, you'll know who's going to be a fit for you or not, you'll know. So, breaking through, no auto dialers, it's crazy. If you're going to break through, if you're going to use email and phone, hire a good company to do it. That's a great way to do it. And or you have a list, right? You build a data list of targets, right, in your neighborhood, in your geography, in your target area. If you're covering the Northeast, you can figure out with some research. The web is beautiful, who your top 30 clients are. So for 6 days, you call 5 very important top officers in those companies. 6 days, 5 targets, 6 work days, covers a week and a half. You've got 30 covered. Now, you may have to do follow-up. You may not break through, but you begin to build a list of people you're working on. 5 calls before 9, very important top officers. And that's it. Cold calling is a crazy activity. If you're going to do that all day long, it's nuts. If you're working in a sweatshop, go get another job. They're crazy too, those companies. They're crazy. There's a better way to do it. So no auto dialing, phone people, 5 calls, have 5 targets before 9 every weekday, then you're done. Very important top officers, go get that book. If not, come to one of my classes where we work out of that book. Then an agenda for the sales call. It shows people that you've planned, you're organized, you've got some thoughts ahead of time. You spend some time in the call to make it productive. Next, tell people what your sales process is. If you don't have a sales process, call me. I'll help you with a sales process. You need a sales system, because how can you figure out where it went wrong? Or can you backtrack with someone if you're just all over the place? You need to feel good at every step of the way, and you check in with your future prospect, your future customer. I don't call them prospects, your future customer, and see how they're doing, how they're feeling. So here's where I think we are up till now. Tell me if I'm wrong. And you go back over. Here's what you said. You go back over your notes. Here's what you said the problems were. Here's what you said you've done so far. Here's what you said generally what you're willing to invest. Have I got that right? Yeah. Okay. How are you feeling about our process so far? Right. So you check in. What's next step in your mind based on what we've talked about so far? That's if it's moving along. That's all you need to know. By the way, that's a great close. What's the next step in your mind? Again, gauging if from the back and forth that you're feeling, they're starting to ask a lot of questions, you're answering the questions, you're asking why they're asking certain questions. That's called a reverse. Okay, that's a great question. I'm going to answer it. And I have some thoughts about that too, some additional thoughts. And I'm just wondering, why is that important right now? Why are you asking that question? Curiosity, right? You got to have some, so you're going to tell people about the sales, your sales process. You're going to have questioning prepared because you're curious. That's why you build questioning, not because it's some sales process. Oh, you got to ask a lot of questions to get to the pain. Yes, of course. You're curious if they're a fit. They've got to have a problem for you to solve. Other than that, they're not a fit. And you're building questioning because you're curious. Are they a fit? Do they have the budget set aside? Can they afford your company? Maybe not. Maybe you're the Cadillac or the Mercedes Benz. Cadillac, that's okay. So maybe you're the Mercedes. Maybe you're the Tesla. Maybe you're the Bentley or the Rolls Royce. It doesn't matter. There's all levels of solutions. You might be the Volkswagen. Well, if they're looking for the Bentley, you better find that out pretty quick, right? So it's curious. And because you're curious naturally, you build good questioning. And you're in your body and you're grounded. You're really there to help people buy. And all through the process, you can just use the energy that comes back and forth to ask more questions because you're going to sense things. If you're grounded and in your body and you're really there to help people, you're not role played into a robot where you're just saying, oh, he said that, so I got to say this. That's crazy. Be grounded, be real, be present. That's how you do it. Then, last but not least, so you're there to help people buy, and you're genuinely there to help people buy. And then, because you're grounded, you're sensing the energy. And as you sense it, if it looks like you did something, like somebody got uncomfortable, they turn away a little bit, or they cross their arms, there's things that either furrow their brow, or you're presenting to a group and somebody's kind of nodding off. It's probably because you're talking too much. But again, you're grounded enough to notice. I was actually on sales calls. I was hired by a company to go watch a few software engineers make presentations, and they were presenting to some fairly prestigious companies that were doing drug testing, and they needed a laboratory information management software. And there were people around the table falling asleep. They were falling asleep. Now, I was asked just to observe, and I took a time out and startled the engineers and said, I got to take a time out here. And there were two guys that were PhDs at the table. They were decision makers too. And I said, Doc, are we missing something? Is this something? Is it you have a question, or is there something that we're not doing? Oh, he said, this is just for the users. He said, I'm not interested in this. Okay, what are you interested in? And I said, guys, write this down. And to the engineers. And so they told us, we're interested in this, this, and this. Okay, when are you going to get to that, guys? I said. And they said, 11 o'clock. Docs, can we invite you back about 5 minutes up? Yes, thank you very much. Okay, they shot out of the room. I said, anybody else not need to be here right now for this part? About 4 other people raised their hands. Yeah, the guys had never asked. Here's where we need, at 10 o'clock we need users. At 11 o'clock we need programmers. I don't know. At 12 o'clock we need decision makers. So, or we need laboratory technicians. We need the data entry people. We need the laboratory technicians. We need the doctors. They didn't ask. So 4 other people raised their hand, and I said, "What are you guys looking for?" And I said, "Guys, write it down." So they said they said what they were looking for. The guys wrote it down. I said, "When are you going to get to that?" And they said, "Oh, probably this afternoon around 1." Go ahead, guys, get out. They didn't even need to be there, for crying out loud. The next day, In another presentation to another company, very similar to a group, they had doctors there. They had, again, it was all medical testing. Somebody kind of got very uncomfortable, again, a decision maker, and like um, leaned over and whispered something to his teammate, and his arms got folded, and his face was, and I did, again, I did timeout. Now, the guys had structured the presentation a little differently because of my coaching the day before and what happened. And they made somebody uncomfortable. And again, they didn't notice it. They didn't notice it because they're sometimes software engineers are so excited about their product, they just run people over with information. So they missed it. The guys got uncomfortable. And I said, is there something, did we just do something that made you uncomfortable? And they said, so the guy who really got uncomfortable said, yeah, I don't want my people to be able to go into the back of the software and make changes that easy. That's not good. That's a security issue. And basically he was going to say that, I could see what was coming next is this is it. It's going to end. And I said, guys, is there something that you did? Is there something there that oh yeah, we're sorry. What we did was when your guy, when I don't know, Andy said, can you do this, this, and this? We went in with our code and we're showing you how easy it is to fix it on our end. If you call us, we can fix it within a minute because we've got this thing down pat. And you can't get to it. You don't have that. Okay, can you show us what they see? I said. And he said, sure. And he went back and showed him, can anybody get in from here? No. I said, guys, try it. Get up there and try it. So they had one of the guys go up and actually try it. And of course, you couldn't get in. You could not get in. It meant you had to phone someone, your contact, for programming in order to have a change like that. And it had to be approved. There were levels of approval. Okay. That was a half an hour that we diverted to help them feel comfortable at the end. So then I said to the guy that was like this, but now he had relaxed, I said, are you okay with this now? Oh, yeah, I understand. I'm sorry. He said, I said, no, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad I noticed that you were getting uncomfortable. He said, yeah, thank you very much. So can we move forward from here now? Are we good to go? He said, absolutely. Okay, I'm set. And it got going again. And both of those sales were made, by the way. So you have to be grounded and be looking at the energy that people are projecting, because all of us are projecting an energy, and that's not getting taught anywhere but right here. And maybe I'm wrong. There might be others, right? This is a big universe. And if you need help with that, I can teach your people that. I can teach your software people that. I can teach your distribution people that. I can teach your medical device equipment people that. I can teach service people that. Because it happens in every meeting and people are missing it. They're even missing it in customer service situations. They're missing it. They're missing it in ongoing relationships because we get comfortable as human beings. We get comfortable and we take things for granted and we miss it. So remember, this is something I remind people of in every seminar. So there's always an energy. It's a boomerang. It's a boomerang. What you put out comes back. And sometimes we have to suffer the consequences of it. That's life. And so you just surrender to the moment. Be in your body. Breathe. All right. Any questions? Raise your hands. You can email me, Steve at Steve Lentini. So here, I'll show you the spelling here. Steve at, so you put an at in, Steve at stevelentini.com. My phone number, 917-805-1088, 917-805-1088. All right, have a great week. Call me or email me. I'm glad to answer any questions or challenges. Thank you. Good selling.